going on, everybody? Thanks for all the emails about my other channel. I guess I'll just put an all call out to everybody that was following my Proto Theo Homo Luminous channel. Everything will be over here now. No worries. Nothing, nothing strange happened. Google didn't do anything. Uh, Basically, I didn't have my computer for a little while, and shit happened. So no worries. We'll be over here now, and again, thanks for all the concern from everybody that sent me an email. Um, and we'll just get on with these topics here. Um, we're going to talk about Hanuman, the monkey mind, addiction, Shiva, Shakti, Brahma, and it's going to be the same story as we always try to get to. And we're going to talk about it from a different way. I'm gonna train right now, so hopefully you can all hear this still, and hopefully you can deal with the background noise. So let's talk about the word addiction, as I've done in my other videos, but I guess here's where we'll start. Addiction is diction, which means words, which has to do with the mind, and it has to do with Hanuman. Hanuman is the monkey mind, the subconscious mind that is always running around, pointing and looking and concocting and looking into the past and looking into the future and evaluating things in the most present way. Everything is done in the immediacy. And these addictions, which are all mental addictions, can pour out in many different formats. Most people will see these addictions in physical formats. And that's as people are sitting there drinking their coffee every day, maybe 10 cups of coffee, and their cigarettes, and the TV, and maybe pornography, and maybe drugs, and maybe alcohol. There's so many things. There's so many things that people are addicted to. Patterns, pattern recognition. They're addicted to the left-minded male archetype, the left-brained, right-handed, orderly, structured, square-type archetypes, and those shapes of reality. And what Hanuman has to do with this is, I'm trying to weave this into what Kundalini is, the Ida, the Pingala, the two base pillars, your two legs, and not only a philosophical discourse, but an actual physical discourse and a quality understanding of what consciousness is and what diet is, or deity. Because see, all of these deities that we talk about, they're not something that exists out in front of you. I mean, they are. If you get into the astral realms and you get into these other places, surely these things will crop up and pop up as internal symbols. They're symbol rich, and they'll show you something. But you can also get out of body and maybe go to these planes where these things do exist. But right here, in this reality spectrum that we live in, they don't really exist. They're just in your mind, and it's about being able to adjust and control the language, because as we talked about before, the first tool that man was ever given was language. Language is a technology and it's a tool. And that tool is half of the whole understanding. It's the D. It's why it's so clunky in our minds, because it's not a full circle. And what Hanuman does is he's connected to that language. He is the addiction. And it's not a he, it's the monkey that's jumping all over the place, throwing nuts and berries and things and running around and jumping, and it's playful. And sometimes that playfulness is in a negative or positive direction. It's really doesn't matter which direction this monkey is playing in, but it needs a partner. It needs something to grab onto. It needs something that is sticky, so that Hanuman can climb the tree, as it were, the tree of life, or your spine. Now again, as I always try to weave these into allegorical statements of not only philosophy, and myth, but the human body as well, and what it actually means in terms of what you need to do internally from a physical standpoint, because there are so many things that we can correct physically to correct mental imbalances. We can correct physical imbalances with mental prowess as well. But most people, their dilemma is more shown, obviously, in the physical realm, in the physical world, what's out in front of them. But we can correct these things in many different ways. Savan Bomar talks about doing it the brute force method, and that's to correct your diet, correct what you're eating, and that's the most obvious way. But again, that is always attached to your thought process of what your food is, and your food being your nutrition, and having a good understanding of what nutrition is. And nutrition meaning light, meaning energy, meaning angles of light. And you can correct these with clear water. You can correct these things and balance these things with different types of food and food signatures and different colors. Such as if you have the blues, you might try to find something that's red or yellow, which will warm you up. And if you're very hot-tempered, you'd want a cucumber and cool that down with the greens and the blues and the blueberries. So there's very obvious signatures, signs of nature, of foods that we can bring into our temple to correct imbalances. Now, what does this have to do with Hanuman? This Hanuman is the one that runs around and asks for everything or points to things. And when we worship Hanuman, which is the earth monkey god that's running around, we follow it around and we let our mind go to where Hanuman wants to go. Instead of sitting firm in our placement in our physical body and not responding to the tiny little baby monkey that really can do no harm. The only harm that comes to any of us in a physical format is when we listen to the monkey and we follow the monkey, and the monkey grabs on and chases a rabbit down a hole. Now, if we just let the monkey do that, and we sit there firm in our foundation and our understandings of what our diet should be, what our deity should be, and what our habits should be, then sooner or later that monkey will stop chasing that rabbit, because it will realize that the Godhead is you. And that subconscious Hanuman monkey mind that runs around chasing ghosts stops doing that. But we've been trained since childhood to chase ghosts. We watch it on TV, we listen to it on the radio. It's all over the place. It's no one's fault, once again, as I'll always put out. But it became an addiction because we got addicted to the physical world. So as we release addiction, meaning words to control the physical world, as we release those addictions, then we have more interplay with the physical world, less dominion or domination over it, and more interplay with it. It doesn't disassociate us from it. It doesn't disassociate us from Hanuman or playfulness. So when we look at these two goddess figures, Shiva, Shakti, and we look at the two base pillars of Freemasonry, Ida, Pingala, and we look at these two forces of male and female, the male being the electricity and the female being the magnetic, and I've discussed these all in my other videos, and I will go further on at another time, probably when I'm not on this train, but I just wanted to speak a little farther about how we can satisfy the monkey mind and how we can move that energy and let the monkey climb a ladder of our spine to make its way into the consciousness where it can be controlled by the four pillars of what Brahman would be: the north, east, west, and south, the news given by Brahman, who sits atop the flowery petals. Because now the mind is no longer controlled by the base desires. And again, what people get confused here is it's not participating in the wines of life and the nectars of honey and the wonderful, beautiful things that we can see, smell, touch, taste, and interact with in this world. It's that we're not driven by those. And as Hanuman gets out of the lower realms getting dirty on the ground and climbs the tree, he'll get out of the forest. He'll get out of the muck, the mud, and he'll find light. And he'll see that it's much warmer atop the tree. And he'll be very far away from all the havoc and the chaos that Hanuman pursues. They're physically looking like they're in shape, but their mind is bent out of shape. But their addiction to everything else, their addiction actually becomes the physicality. They try to overcome the physicality and they become addicted to it. It's as Alan Watts says, it's the trying to escape addiction, you become addicted to it. You become addicted to the idea of non-addiction. It's a double bind. So we have to think of it in terms of mostly what we stick into our mouths. I think it seems to be the most direct way that we can adjust everything within our system. Because whether or not we accept the physical world coming out of the mind, or we experience the physical world. And so we can use physical objects, physical elements, to adjust our spirituality as well as our mentality. Obviously, you can use all sorts of different substances meaning something that stands under you, a substance, to correct or change imbalances within your mental construct. You can use a physical thing to change your mind. And you can do it the other way around too. So we have to be more selective in the types of things that we're allowing into our temples, the things that we offer ourselves. And as I've always pointed out, the most direct fashion is to fast, to drink distilled water. And if you're brave enough, start cycling your urine. I've done way too many videos on this, and if you don't understand what cycling your urine is, do the research on Shivambu. And it'd be very obvious that Shiva and Shivambu might have something to do with each other. So the talk here, the idea here, let me go to this little thing I drew earlier. It's just a little idea about how the triangles work and where Brahma is above at the top, and down here at the bottom, this is where Hanuman sits, and he's playing around down here. Here's Hanuman. And the monkey's playing down here in the lower realm, dancing around. And Brahma comes down to get him all of the time. Brahma follows him down. The higher consciousness follows him down and gets stuck in the lower realms. This here in the middle is your spine. That's the energy that normally, see, there's a spot here in your pineal, and there's a spot here in your sacrum, or your sacred, or your secret spot. And Hanuman plays down there, and he doesn't climb the tree, but Brahman comes down and gets him, and then gets into the muck with Hanuman. Now, if Brahman just stays where he is and sits how he is, sooner or later, Hanuman's going to get tired, and he's going to climb up and meet Brahma. He's going to have to. And on his way up, he can participate with the Shiva and the Shakti energy. A lot of people say that Hanuman is actually Shakti. So I don't know if that's exactly true. I haven't read all of the Hindu literature, and I see the connection there. But I think I think Hanuman is on his own until he binds with these two forces, the male and the female. And that male-female force, the Shiva, the Shakti, have something to do with the Ida, the Pingala, and that energy of electric and magnetic that grab a hold of the monkey mind and pull it up to Brahma. So by doing this, what we do is we collapse the two triangles. The first triangle is upside down because Hanuman is on the ground. And Shiva and Shakti are trying to get him to go up to where Brahma is. But if we flip that thing over, we can see Brahma on top. So Brahma is only a reflection of Hanuman. It's not that Brahma doesn't want to play in the world, and it's not that Hanuman doesn't want to go up to where Brahma is. He just doesn't. He knows nothing of it, because up here, at the top, that's where the sunlight is. That's where the soul is. See, Hanuman's down here in the soil. And up here is the soul. So Hanuman stays in one of the souls. It's the lower soul. And as soon as Hanuman climbs, these two triangles start to interlace. And then they meet in the middle. And there you have your Star of David. But that's not the only name. That's not the original name. And Dravid is DVD. It has to do with a circle. It has to do with a monad. That's why a DVD looks like that. It has to do with so many different things. But I think this should be enough of a lesson for everybody today. And the solution is in the soul, is in the water, the clean, clear waters, and removing all of those cubes of salt that I've talked about so many other times. And so anybody new to this channel, I'll do another video soon on it, but those cubes are cubes of salt. And you need to remove the salts, the inorganic variety, from your system so that your brain fires properly. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'll get rid of this here and see if y'all like to take a look at this one last time. And we'll talk soon, y'all. Cheers.